Welcome to this lecture. This is lecture number 14, and the topic is first law of thermodynamics. In a last lecture, we already discussed about work and heat transfer. We discussed in a different cases in a which manner work and heat transfer is taking place, uh, and in a which manner we can calculate value of heat transfer and work transfer for a particular process. So now we are moving towards a very important topic of thermodynamics, that is first law of thermodynamics. So we already studied this topic from class 9, and we all of know that first law of thermodynamics is telling about energy conservation of law. Okay, according to this law, we know that energy is neither be created nor be destroyed. Energy is converted into one form to another form. Okay, so if we relate this law for a particular cycle, suppose this is a something graph between x and y parameter, and if we plot a cycle in this graph, plot, suppose this is a first state and this is second state. Okay, and by this manner here two processes are happening. These are from 1 to 2, and again we move towards second to first. So if we combine these two processes, then we will make a cycle that is 1 to 2 and 2 to 1. Okay, so if we talk about this particular process, this process is 1 to 2. So in a last chapter we already discussed that for a particular process, if we move from state 1 to state 2, then there are two types of phenomena will be happen. The first one, that is something amount of heat that may transfer from system to surrounding or surrounding to system, or in the same manner there is a possibility of work transfer from system to surrounding or surrounding to system. So if we talk about this particular process 1 to 2, then in this process there is something amount of heat which is transferring from system to surrounding or surrounding to system, and the same thing is happening if we want to go from 1 to 2, then something amount of work which is done on the system, and we representing this work from W1 to 2. After that, if we move from state second to state first, in that case something amount of heat which is released from system, if we represent this heat term from Q2 to 1, and something amount of work which is transferred from system to surrounding, and we represent this work from W2 to 1. Okay, so according to first law of thermodynamics, if we combine all heat transfer, and if we combine for this particular cycle all types of work, so what is the statement of first law of thermodynamics? energy is neither be created nor be destroyed. It is converted from one form to another form. So if we apply this definition in this particular cycle, so we can say that for this particular cycle, sigma W for a cycle, that must be equal to J sigma Q for this particular cycle. That means W, sigma W is, what is sigma W for this cycle? That is simply algebraic summation of all types of work. That means here for this cycle, sigma W for a cycle, that is equal to W1 to 2 plus W2 to 1. Okay. Same thing is happening with this term sigma Q for cycle. So what is sigma Q for cycle? That is equal to Q1 to 2 plus Q2 to 1. Okay. Another question is that, okay, we know that here work energy is converted into heat energy, or heat energy is converted into work energy. But what about this term? What is this term? J. So here J is a Joule's equivalent constant. Joule's equivalent constant. What is its mechanical meaning? Actually, we know that in this particular cycle, heat transfer, or you can say, yes, heat transfer is proportional to work transfer. So if you want to relate this heat transfer with work transfer, then you have to insert a constant. So this constant telling about the actual relationship between work transfer and heat transfer. So before this equation, you can write that W for particular cycle is directly proportional to heat transfer for particular cycle. That means if we increase heat transfer, then there is something amount of work transfer is also increased. If you are talk about net work and net heat transfer for a cycle. Okay. So this is the Joule equivalent constant J, or in other words, you can say that is mechanical equivalent constant. Okay. So if we want to write in integration term, so we can write this statement. This is the term which is representing cyclic interior, because here we are talk about total cycle value. So this is the sign of cyclic interior. So cyclic interior of dW, that is equal to J cyclic interior for dQ. So this is the statement of first law of thermodynamics for a cycle. First law of thermodynamics for a cycle. Okay. And this law in which we talk about this cycle, this is a closed system cycle. This is a closed system cycle. Okay. So this is the first law for a closed system undergoing a cycle. And now we move some other important terms, because here we already discussed about first law application on a closed system cycle. Now we move towards first law application for a particular process. We know that this cycle is a combination of two individual process. If we combine these two individual process, 1 to 2 plus second 2 to 1, then we get this particular cycle. So if we want to adopt first law of thermodynamics for particular process, we use 1 to 2, either we use second to 1. So how can we apply this law? Okay, so see that suppose this is our case. Firstly, I have to change heading. First law of thermodynamics for a system undergoing state 1 to state 2. Okay, so if we talk about change in state, then that means we talk about process. Okay, so if we consider particular process, suppose we consider this 1 to 2 process. Okay, so what is its meaning? If we apply first law of thermodynamics for this particular 1 to 2 process, so we see that for this process, heat transfer Q1 to 2 and work transfer is W1 to 2. Okay, so if we separate these two terms for particular process, Q1 to 2 minus W1 to 2, then we get something amount of energy. Okay, we get something amount of energy. Same thing is happening with process second to 1. Okay, so what is its meaning? If we consider particular process, then for a particular process, difference between heat transfer of that process and work transfer of that process having a definite value, which is known as energy stored. That's it, energy of system. Okay, so if we rewrite this equation, so we can write in a generalized manner Q equals to delta E plus W. So remember always that this expression Q equals to delta E plus W, this is the first law statement, for a process. Okay, and in the last topic which we have discussed, that cyclic interior of dq, that is equal to J times cyclic interior of dW. This is the first law expression for a particular cycle. So this is the if anyone asking that what is the first law expansion for a cycle, or what is the first law expansion for a process, so you can give that expansions for a cycle. You will tell that for a cycle, first law expansion is cyclic interior of dq, that is equal to J times cyclic interior of dW. And for a process, we can write expression Q equals to delta E plus W, where delta is energy of the system. Okay, so if we take any system, this is a system. We know that energy and work both are boundary phenomena. So that's why if in this system, lots of amount of energy is transferring from surrounding to system as well as system to surrounding. And the same thing is happening with work. W1, W2 and something W3 is transferring from surrounding to system. That means W3 is burden on the system. So if we want to write this expansion, okay, so for this particular process, we are talking about this heat transfer and work transfer for a particular process. Okay. So if we combine these all statements, so we can write that is equal to Q1. This is transfer from surrounding to system. So this is positive Q1 plus Q2. And this amount Qt is a transferring from system to surrounding. That's why we feed with negative sign. Okay. That is equal to delta E plus here burdens W1 by the system, W2 by the system, W3 on the system. So W1 plus W2 and minus W3 because this work is done on the system. So for particular process, we can write this equation. So this is the summation of all amount of heat and this is the summation of all amount of work. Since we are talking about particular process, that's why we insert this amount energy delta E. Okay. And if we talk about this all type of heat transfer and this all type of work transfer is taking place inside the a cycle, then we can write like that cyclic interior of that is amount Q1 plus Q2 minus Qt, that is equal to J times sigma of W1 plus W2 minus W3. Okay, so that's all about we talk about first law of thermodynamics for a cycle and first law of thermodynamics for a particular process. Okay, now we move towards understanding this term delta E. Okay, what is delta E? Is it property of the system? And this delta E, which type of energy stored inside the system? Okay, so we move towards next point. Yes. Energy, a property of the system. Energy, a property of the system. Okay. So again, we consider a cyclic figure, which is a plotting between pressure and volume axis. Pressure and volume axis. So this is a one cycle, another one, this is another one process, and this is another one process. Okay, and the states are 1 to 2. So we can move in this figure from state 1 to state 2 by 3 ways. Okay, first one, this is the A way, 1 to 2. Second one, this is the V way, that is the direction second to 1, and another way, that is C way, which having same direction like B path second to 1. Okay, so here we want to know that is energy term is a property of the system. So property of the system, that meaning this delta E, if it is a property of the system, then it must be a point function. It it must be independent from the path history. Okay, so if we write first law of thermodynamics for a particular process path A, this is path A. If we adopt this path A, first law of thermodynamics, then we can write this expression QA equals to delta E for A plus WA. Okay, and if we write this expression for path B, that is path B, so QB equals to delta EB plus WB. Okay, so this is the expression for path B. If we combine these two paths, 1 to 2 and 2 to 1, so through process A and through process B. Okay, so for cycle path which is making through path A and path B, that means this cycle, we going from 1 to 2 through a path A, and again we move towards second to first through a path B. So if we not considering this path C, so see, we can combine these two parts A and B and forming this cycle AB. Okay, so if we talk about first law of thermodynamics for this particular cycle, so we can write this expression like sigma Q for a cycle, that is equal to sigma W for a cycle. So that means we have to combine these all terms. So QA plus QB, that is equal to WA plus WB. So if we rearrange these terms like that, QA minus WA, that is equal to, with minus sign common, we can write QB minus WB. Okay, we can write this term. So what conclusion is here? QA minus WA. QA minus WA, that means if we adopt first law of thermodynamics for particular path A, so we can write this expression QA equals to delta E for A path plus WA. Same thing is happening with path B. We can write this expression QB equals to delta E for B path plus WB. Okay, so if we put these values, QA minus WA, that is equal to delta EA, that is equal to delta E for A path, and QB minus WB, that is equal to delta EB minus sign with delta EB. Here this minus sign showing different direction, because through path A we are moving from 1 to 2, and through path B we are moving from second to first. If we compare path B and path C, then these two paths having same direction. By these two paths you can go from second state to first state. So that's why if we consider C path also, that means we consider a cycle which is making through path A and path C. That means for some time we remove this path B and we talking about path A, path C cycle. Okay, we consider that B is absent in this cycle. So if we adopt same thing in this particular cycle, so at the end we get like that, delta EA that is equal to minus sign delta EC. So if we combine these equations, equation A and this equation B, so we can see that EA terms are same. So by equation A and equation B, we combine these two statements and we get delta EB that is equal to delta EC. Okay. So conclusion is that we are going from second to first, two different parts, path B and path C. But in these two paths, energy stores are same. That means delta E term, energy stored inside the system, is independent from the path history. It is depends upon only on and its states, because B and C paths both having same end states, second and first. So conclusion is that energy stored, that is delta E, is the property of the system. Okay, so this is about energy storage statement. If we talk about this energy stored in net whole cycle, that means delta E for cycle, that means cyclic interior of this DE, that is equal to 0, because it is depend upon path, it is depend upon state, particular state, it is independent upon path. So that's why if you are moving from 1 and to 2 and again you reach on this point 1, then change in energy stored inside the system, that must be equal to 0. So remember that if you are talking about net change inside the cycle, this is energy stored, that must be equal to 0. Okay, so this is about energy or the property of the system. Now we talk about different forms of stored energy. Okay. So now we discuss different forms of stored energy. Okay, so remember that here in thermodynamics, energy can be divided into two forms. Okay, in thermodynamics we can divide this energy into two forms. The first one is energy in transient, energy in transient. Okay, and the second one, that is energy in stored. Okay, so here we can divide into two forms. So what is energy transient? Whatever the energy which is transferring from system to surrounding or surrounding to system, you can put this type of energy in this category. Okay, energy in transient. So if you are calculating, that is Q, what is amount of heat which is required to raise this system temperature, or you can say that if any system is losing heat, from system to surrounding, then if you calculate whatever the amount of Q for happening this process, then you are talking about this energy in transient state. But if you are talking about energy in store, that means you are talking about that particular delta E. Okay, so what is energy store? If this energy store is depend upon several aspects. Okay, so this energy store can be further classified into two parts. Okay, the first one, that is macroscopic energy mode, that is macroscopic energy, and second one, that is microscopic energy. We already discussed in the first chapter about macroscopic and microscopic terms. Okay, if we talk about molecular level, then we use this term microscopic, and if we talk about average impact of molecules, then we use this term macroscopic point of view. So if any fluid which is flowing from inlet to outlet valve through a system, then this fluid having some average velocity of its center of mass, then due to this average velocity of center of mass, this fluid having some kinetic energy, and due to position of this fluid particles from datum point, this fluid also having some potential energy. So you can say these type of energy is known as macroscopic energy, which is stored inside the fluid. So this macroscopic energy may be kinetic energy, okay, or maybe potential energy. But remember, here we talk about this kinetic energy, potential energy, which having average value. That means average impact of all types of molecules which are present inside the fluid. Okay, so using for this term, for kinetic energy, you simply use 1 by 2 mv square, that is the mass, net mass of the system. Yeah, or you can say, if you want to calculate this potential energy, then you can use term mgs, that is the average mass of all molecules of the fluid. But if you are talking about macroscopic energy, so what is macroscopic energy? This is the energy stored in the molecular and atomic structure of the system. Okay? This is energy stored in molecular or atomic structure. Okay, so if we further classify this type of energy, then we can say that this is another term we can say, because this energy stored inside the atomic structure, so we can say this is the internal energy of the system, which is representing by U. Okay, internal energy of the system, which is representing by U. Okay, then if we talk about this type of energy further, so if we represented this term, it may be translatory, it may be rotatory, because all this type of energy is the index of molecular motion. Okay, we are talking about molecular motion because we are talking about macroscopic energy. So this may be translatory, this may be rotationary, this may be vibratory, it may be chemical, it may be electronic, it may be nuclear. Okay, so these type of all index. Okay, So if we move again and focus our study towards this term, internal energy U. So remember, this internal energy, it is the index of collision between molecules. We know that if we fill any gas inside the system, then these gas molecules inside the system having a random motion, and due to random motion, these molecules can collide to each other and producing heat energy. So you can say that this internal energy, this is the function of temperature. Okay, this internal energy, this is the function of temperature, because if this internal energy, changing internal energy, adjusting, that means gas molecules moving inside the system in a random manner, and due to collision of particles, temperature of the gas will increase. So that's why we can say if temperature is changing inside the system, then internal energy is also changing inside the system. So remember that internal energy, that is always function of temperature. Okay, this is a function of temperature. Okay, and this is the internal energy. Internal energy of the system. Okay, remember, it is a very important term. Okay, so this is the term which is telling about change in internal energy. So if we want to define capital E term, that is the net system energy. Okay, so if we want to define this net capital E term, so we know that this net capital E term, it is the summation of macroscopic and microscopic type of energy. This capital E, which we have already using to define first law of thermodynamics for a particular process. Okay, so this capital E, this is the summation of macroscopic energy plus microscopic energy, and we already discussed that there are two types of macroscopic energy. These are kinetic energy and potential energy. So if we define this kinetic energy, this capital E energy, this is the summation of kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, and another one, third one, that is the microscopic type of energy. So we define this microscopic type of energy, that is internal energy. Okay, if we neglect all types of energy and we consider only energy which is offering due to random motion of molecules, then we can say that due to microscopic point of view, there are internal energy adjusting inside the system. So these two types of energy, kinetic energy plus potential energy, this is known as macroscopic energy, and this is the energy due to microscopic. Okay, this is the internal energy. Okay, so remember this is the summation of two types of energy, and this is energy stored inside system. Okay, so if you want to define this term E, so it is like that. So if any system having neglect change in kinetic energy and potential energy, okay, that means neglect the change in macroscopic energy, so we can define this term capital E equals to U. That means in that case, net amount of energy which is stored inside the system, that is equal to internal energy of the system. Okay, since we are talking about closed system, so in the closed system cases, they are all examples. In all examples, you can see that macroscopic energies becomes zero due to conditions of closed system. So in that case, if kinetic energy and potential energy change is equal to 0, so we can say delta E equals to delta U. Okay, we can write this expression. So same thing is happening with the parent expansion. We know first law of thermodynamics expression for a particular process. What is that? This is dq equals to dE plus dW. Remember this dq and dW, that is inexact differential, and this dE, since it is a property of the system, that's why it is exact differential. Okay, so if we rewrite this expression for this process, in this case, when kinetic energy and potential energy change is equal to 0, so we can rewrite this expression dq equals to du plus dw. Okay, here like dE, du is also a property of the system. That means change in internal energy, it is a property of system. It is dependent upon only on end states of the path. It is independent from the path history. Okay, so this is all about internal energy change. So if we rewrite this expansion further, so dq equals to du plus, if we talk about closed system, okay, in a closed system kinetic energy and potential energy change is equal to 0. That's why d is equal to du. And for a closed system, we know that if this process is happening inside the closed system in a quasi-static manner, then we can write this dw like indication of dW. So this is the parent equation like that. Okay. Now, specific heat at constant volume. So this is the further expression. Specific heat at constant volume. Okay. So what is that expansion? We already discussed in 10 plus 2 level. We know that Cv equals to, that is change in internal energy, LU upon del T at constant volume. Okay, because we know that there are two types of specific heat. The first one, that is specific heat at constant pressure, and second one, that is specific heat at constant volume. So we already learned this theory in 10 plus 2 level. Then suppose a beaker having something amount of gas, and we transfer a heat at a constant pressure, and this beaker, or you can say this cylinder piston assembly having a piston, and we prevent the motion of piston, which will offering due to transformation of heat inside the cylinder. So what happened? If we prevent the motion of piston and consistent transferring heat from outside to system, then this heat is utilizing to rise the temperature of the system. So this heat is transferring from constant volume because we prevent the motion of piston. And so that's why we can say this is the heat which is the index of specific heat at constant volume. Okay, so and the energy which is utilized to rise the temperature, that is known as internal energy of the system. So we can write this expression Cv equals to del U upon del T at constant volume. So if we rewrite this expression, and another important thing is that if you using this small u term, okay, this small u term, so that means that is a specific internal energy. That is specific internal energy. So specific internal energy, that means capital U upon small m. All the properties which are representing with small letters of English alphabet, that is representing specific property. Okay. So if we are using small u term, that means specific internal energy, that is equal to capital U upon small m. That is the mass of the system. Like that, you can write same thing for enthalpy. Small h equals to capital H upon m. So this is the meaning specific enthalpy. Okay, and that is the total enthalpy. Capital H is total enthalpy. If we divide total enthalpy with mass of the system, then we will get specific enthalpy. Okay, so here, if this type of expression is existing, Cv equals to del U upon del T at constant volume, then we can rewrite this expression, that is equal to delta U for constant volume integration T1 to T2 Cv dt. Okay. So we know that first law for process, that is equal to dq equals to du plus dw, and this is the process which is happening at constant volume. So we know that for work expansion, if this process is happening through quasi-static manner, then we can write this expression dw equals to p dv. And since this whole process is happening at constant volume, this is a process which is happening at constant volume, that means dv equals to 0. Okay, so that's why dw equals to 0 for this particular process. So we can rewrite this expansion, that is dq equals to du. Okay, so if we put this value from here, so we can say q for constant volume is equal to integration of T1 to T2, that is equal to Cv multiplied by dt. So if we rewrite this expansion, then we can say that Cv equals to del Q upon del T for constant volume. Okay, so this is the expansion. It is same expansion which you have taught in 10+2 level, in which you transferring heat inside the system when you maintain constant volume by preventing piston motion inside the system. So this is the expansion, same like that, which you have learned in 10+2 level. Just we write mathematical physical signification of that theory. Okay. Now we move towards another term, that is enthalpy. So if we talk about enthalpy, it is a simply summation of H equals to, here I am writing this is a specific property equation, H equals to U plus PV. Okay. I am writing this expression in a small letter. That means it is specific property. Okay. So if we multiply these all equation with small m, then this equation convert into total enthalpy content. Capital H equals to capital U plus P multiplied by capital V. Okay. So here this is specific enthalpy, this is specific internal energy, and this is specific volume. So if we divide with capital M, then this expression is converted into capital H equals to capital U plus P capital V. Okay. So again we move towards understanding the term enthalpy. What is enthalpy? Okay. So this is the expression H equals to U plus PV. If we write first law of thermodynamics for a process, then what is its statement? That is, for a closed system, first law of thermodynamics is equal to dq equals to du plus p dv. Okay, this is the equation of first law of thermodynamics for a closed system. Okay, that means dw, in place of dw we can write p dv if this process is happening in a quasi-static manner. Okay, so since if we doing this process at constant pressure, we performing this process at constant pressure. In internal energy, we performing process at constant volume. Okay, and in this case, we performing process at constant pressure. Okay, so we rewrite this expansion. We can write this PdV. We can write this PdV like that. D of PV. Why? See that this is the first term, varying term, and this is the second term. So if we adopt chain rule for integration, then we can write this expression P dV plus V dP. Since this process is performing at constant pressure, so that's why this dP equals to 0. So that means dPV equals to क्या हो जाएगा? P dV. Okay, so that's why we can write this term dPV in place of PdV. So dQ equals to du plus dPV. So if we talk about total integration term, so we can write this expression dQ equals to du plus PV. Okay, and we know that here in the above expression H equals to U plus PV. So and here dQ equals to du plus PV. That means if we performing any process at constant pressure, so in that case dQ equals to dH. If we performing any process at constant pressure, then in that case heat transfer is equal to change in enthalpy. Okay, because this dQ is index of at constant pressure, and if we write this expression in differential mode, then we can write dH equals to, that is du plus PV. So same thing, this is the heat at constant pressure is equal to change in enthalpy. Okay, so if we rewrite this expression, so we can write dQp equals to dH. Another important term is that we can write this PV or dH du plus, since we know ideal gas equation is PV equals to RT, so we can put this PV value in terms of RT. So we know that this is the term of internal energy, and internal energy, that is the function of temperature, and here is T already present. This is the temperature, so we can say that enthalpy, that is the function of temperature, because here this is a differentiate of U plus RT, and U is dependent upon temperature, and as well as RT is also depends upon temperature. So we can say this enthalpy term, this is a function of temperature, like internal energy. The difference between the internal energy and enthalpy is that for performing change in internal energy, if there is a case in which only on internal energy is changed, that means this process is happening at a constant volume. And in the case when heat transfer of the system is also equal to change in enthalpy of the system, that means this process is happening at constant pressure. So remember this difference between these two terms. Now, if we talk about specific heat at constant pressure, so what its expression? We know that here dQp equals to dH. Okay. So further, if we write this expansion, what we can write in place of this dQp? If we rewrite this expansion here, if we rewrite this expansion, then we can say that integration of Cp dt, that is equal to dH. Okay. So we can write Cp equals to dH upon dt when this process is happening at constant pressure. So by this, you can use this expression where enthalpy, that is the function of temperature. Okay. And you have value of specific heat at constant pressure. Then you can calculate simply with the limits of temperature what is the change in enthalpy in particular process in which temperature is changing from T1 to T2. Okay. So by this expansion, you can calculate exact value of enthalpy. Okay. So this is the about change in enthalpy. Now another important term is energy of an isolated system. This is energy of an isolated system. Okay. Isolated system, it is a special case of closed system. Okay. So if you talk about this particular process which is happening inside the isolated system, so if you adopt first law of thermodynamics for a process, okay, you adopt, wait 1 minute. If you adopt first law of thermodynamics for a process, that is equal to dq equals to dE plus dW. Okay. This is the equation for a process. Since it is an isolated system, that means in an isolated system, okay, in this heat transfer is equal to 0 from system to surrounding or surrounding to system, and as well as work transfer, that is also equal to 0. Okay. So if we put these two values for a isolated system in this equation, so what happening? We get dE equals to 0. That means what is the physical signification of this term? That is E equals to constant. So conclusion is that energy of an isolated system is always conserved. Energy of an isolated system is always conserved. Okay, that's value is always constant. Okay, this is for isolated system. So we can say that energy of this universe is always constant because universe is the example of an isolated system. Okay, now another important topic of this chapter is perpetual motion machine of first kind. Okay, perpetual motion of machine of first kind. In a short manner, we can express this term like PMM1. Okay, so what is this PMM1? We know that according to first law of thermodynamics, energy is changing from one state to another state. Okay, one form to another form. Energy is neither be created nor be destroyed. But according to PMM machine, what is PMM machine statement? There is a machine which can consistently producing work without absorbing any amount of energy. Without absorbing any amount of energy, this machine consistently producing work. So is it possible? No, because this machine violates the first law of thermodynamics. So this is the statement PMM machine. What is the statement of PMM machine? A machine which consistently producing work without absorbing any amount of energy or heat. So it violates the first law of thermodynamics, because according to first law of thermodynamics, energy is neither be created nor be destroyed. It just convert one form of energy to another form of energy. So this machine impossible for producing this machine in a practical manner, because it violates the first law of thermodynamics. Reverse is also violate the first law of thermodynamics. That means if any machine absorbing energy and producing nothing change. Okay, if anything which is absorbing some amount of energy, some form of energy, and producing no effect from system to surrounding or surrounding to system, that means it is the another violation of first law of thermodynamics. So PMM machine, it is impossible for making in a practical manner. Okay, so this is about PMM1 machine. So this is the chapter first law of thermodynamics for a closed system. So we will discuss some numerical problems in next lecture. Okay, thank you very much.